então muito boa tarde. Cá estamos de volta e hoje com um ilustre convidado vindo de terras de sua majestade. Do you know, Steve, that Portugal and Britain had a sacred alliance some years ago?
Oh yes, certainly.
We were very nice partners.
Well, I mean, in those days, you had to have somebody to sort of work with in order to combat the forces that were trying to attack us both.
Yeah. Let me do some introduction. Ora bem, hoje tenho aqui este ilustre convidado, o Steven Healey, que é um apaixonado pelos vídeos em direto. Ele está constantemente online e é um evangelizador, digamos assim, dos vídeos em direto. É, inclusivamente, eu chamar-lhe um embaixador de uma das minhas ferramentas para fazer vídeos em direto, o BeLive. You're a kind of ambassador of BeLive, right?
I am an ambassador for BeLive.tv, yes.
Okay, great.
Since the day it started.
What I was saying. Hoje vamos falar sobretudo, como vocês sabem, eu sou um amante dos vídeos em direto e hoje vamos ter aqui o Steven para falarmos em tudo que possa envolver um vídeo em direto, todas aquelas coisas que têm a ver, desde que ferramentas utilizamos, de que forma é que utilizamos, os medos que tivemos quando começámos, porque todos nós temos algum receio para começar e eu também tive, e o Steven ainda há pouco esteve a confidenciar comigo, também teve algum receio quando começou. Como já devem ter reparado, o Steven fala em inglês, por isso hoje mais uma vez temos dose dupla de aprendizagem, vamos falar sobre direto, também vão aprender um pouquinho ou praticar o inglês. Quem quiser colocar questões em inglês está à vontade para o fazer. Se quiserem colocar em português, colocam em português, eu depois traduzo para o Steven poder responder, ok? Estejam à vontade, é muito importante que aproveitem para interagir. Se depois estiverem a fazer, durante a gravação, estiverem a ver a gravação, se quiserem colocar alguma questão, também podem colocar. Se for em inglês, identificam o Steven, se não, podem dizer que é para o Steven, mas escrevem em português e eu vou tentar traduzir, ok? Para que toda a gente aprenda mais qualquer coisa. E, por favor, sim, ao conhecerem alguém que possa ter interesse nesta transmissão, identifiquem nos comentários. Também podem partilhar com os vossos contactos. Não se esqueçam também de subscrever, terá alguns aqui um botãozinho para subscrever os diretos, para entrarem, para receberem notificações sempre que eu entrar no ar. E também aproveitem, eu identifiquei na publicação o Steven, procurem, porque ele está envolvido em vários projetos de transmissões e podem acompanhar, que ele faz diretos muito interessantes. Ok? Steven, now it's us again. I was doing the introductions. I was talking about the lives you do very often. How often do you make lives?
I broadcast on BeLive.tv Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So it's weekdays. And thank you for the kind introduction, and thank you for inviting me, Marco. Yeah, I love going live, and I've met some amazing people from all around the world, and I've partnered up with people so I can go live from Canada on Mondays. Tuesday we join up Tennessee in the UK. Wednesday we join up Colorado in the UK. Thursday is well, I suppose it's just me in England, and then Friday is South Africa. So it's totally global, and it's friends who've got together just through live video. We didn't know each other before this all started.
Oh, very good. I guess it's one of the good things about being live. But maybe we can. I'm having some feedback.
This is live.
Yeah, this is live. For instance, it was Wednesday. I guess, yes. I made a workshop talking about being live and so on. And a boy asked me, and what about the problems you may have and so on? And the one thing I said to him, one thing is for granted. It could happen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When you go live, everything can happen. And for instance, I talk about that in the morning, and in the evening I was doing a live. For instance, my computer broke down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have to restart and so on. And everything okay.
The thing is, it happens. I mean, the technology we're using, by being on BeLive.tv, it looks simple and straightforward. But it is, underneath the surface, complicated. And we're using the internet, and we're reliant on the internet and the speed of the internet, and that can change. And then we're reliant on our computers. And every time I go live, or before I go live, I switch my computer off, start it again, and I go straight to the Chrome browser. And I've got two tabs open at the moment. One is this BeLive broadcast, and the second is Messenger. And Messenger is there in case we have a problem, and we can still talk to each other. But the thing about live is that there are going to be mistakes, and you live with that and you move on. If you bring something up on screen and it's not spelled correctly, you've got to move on. If you say something which is stupid, then you just move on. And that's the whole thing about it. And we've come to expect that a live broadcast is not going to be perfect, but it is going to be real.
Yeah, of course. For instance, some weeks ago, a guy was talking with me, and he was saying, "Oh, I like the content of your life, but some technical things are not so good and so on." And I say, "I'm not a TV presenter. I'm not the guy from the news, and I like to be me on lives, so people can say that when they see me offline, for instance, they say it's the same guy."
Exactly. That's it. You can, if you want to come live and pretend, you can do it. But the thing is, you can't be consistent. And the easiest way to go live is just to be you and to be natural. I mean, to me at the moment, it's as if you and I, Marco, were sat in the same room or in a cafe and we're just talking.
Of course.
And that's the way I look at it, that we're talking to each other. And we're grateful for everybody who's watching and commenting. And we are hoping that we'll get more comments coming in and more people watching, because that's good. But it's just a chat between two, well, we're becoming good friends, since the Belivers group and everything involved with that. And I just love live. It's simple. But be yourself.
Of course. So can I ask you, how was the first time?
You always remember the first time, don't you? First time of anything, but first time live. I think the first time live is rather special because it's that point where you've no nerves and you just go ahead and do it. I was listening to a broadcast on Blab, which was a platform that was around 2 years ago. And it was hosted by Phil Aston, and he lives in Cornwall in England. And he did a business show every week. And he said, would anybody like to come on as a guest? Well, I'd never been on camera, and I just had my computer with the internal camera, the internal microphone. But before I knew it, I was actually live on air. And I was talking to him, and just like I'm talking to you now, that's the way I started it, and that's the way I've continued, just two people talking. I didn't bother about the quality of the video or the quality of the sound. I just did it. And I was then bitten by the video bug. And then I said, well, if Phil can do a show, then I can do a show. But I'm not going to do it alone. So I spoke to a friend, John, and John and I got together and created the show. And the show's called Blabbing for Britain. And it goes out every Thursday at 10 a.m. in the UK, 10 a.m. in Portugal as well. Yes. And we've been doing that show for 124 weeks. Whoa. So we've been doing it for 2.25 years. And that started from Blab 2 years ago. And it's just, that's how I began. Now, what do you remember of your first broadcast?
Well, I remember the first I made with Facebook was awful because I made with mobile phone, lousy light, and my hands were in the front of the camera. Almost we can see but I started also in Blab. I remember I made some broadcasts in Blab. It was a really nice tool. It was a shame that he went down because I really loved the tool. I remember. I made the first I made with a Portuguese guy, a LinkedIn specialist. He's around here, at least he made put a like here, and we were talking with Brazilian people. It was really nice. I enjoyed the experience, and then I made some 6, I guess, blab shows. Then I never found partners to do with me, and I really don't want to go live alone because it would be very, very sad. But I started also with blab, and it was okay. Just a talk with people like we were in a cafe.
Yeah, because in those days there was no Facebook Live, so it was 4 people talking on screen with an audience, and the audience were able to comment like people are able to comment today, and it just worked because it was new, because they were the first people to do it and do it properly, because the quality, as you say, wasn't perfect, but it was good enough, and there were people on there 24 hours a day, and that's not different people, it's the same people who stayed live for 24 hours. It was a crazy sort of early days sort of thing, and then of course they disappeared, as you said. They wanted to be the next Facebook, and although they had 400,000 users a month, that wasn't big enough. So they closed their doors, and we're all looking for a new home then, weren't we?
Yeah, I did. But mostly I was looking for partners. Was my biggest struggle, because I didn't want to go live alone. And because I guess things will get more interesting if you are talking like we are now, and people interact. Not so often now. I hope people start to commenting. Let me do a teaser for people to start commenting. Quem estiver a ver, por favor, coloque comentários. Esta conversa quer-se participada, pode ser muito mais interessante. Aproveitem o facto de termos aqui o Steven, que é um grande especialista em transmissões em direto, que faz imensas, e coloca-lhe questões. Eu também posso responder algumas, mas interajam, que a conversa fica certamente mais interessante. Ok? Steven, let's go again. I was asking for some comments, some feedback. Okay, so
the thing is that we're doing the show live now, and we're grateful for everybody watching us. But if you do not comment, we do not know who you are. People Marco can actually see. We do not know who you are, and basically, this live video is the best way to start conversation.
Yeah,
the live video is only part of the story, isn't it?
Yes,
because
of course.
Once this video is complete, there is a recording, and we go back to the shows afterwards, and we start a conversation with everybody who's commented. So this is a starting point. The live video is a starting point for conversations, and all it takes is the first comment, and it can be anything you like. What's the Portuguese for hello?
Olá.
Hola. Just say hola, and then we know that you're there. I know. I mean, that would be good. That's all we need. And if you have any questions for Marco or myself, then please ask. I think that the live video is great. And one of the things we were speaking about beforehand, before we started, was the fear of going live, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I guess one of the things who didn't stop me was I didn't think about that. I guess it's the most important thing. Don't think about the fear of going live, things could go wrong, and so on. Usually, I used to say to people, think about it. When you start, your audience is very little. So if you made some mistakes, maybe it's 1-2 people watching you. If it's really bad, you can delete the video at the end. It's okay.
Yep. You can. You've got total control. I mean, what I tell people to do, or what I say that people can do, is if you are shy of the camera, and we understand why, and we once were, long time ago, But if you are on Facebook and you start a private group and 2 members, you and a friend, okay, and you go live into the group, and the only person watching you is your friend, which means that they're going to support you, and they will, if there's anything you're doing that's wrong, they will tell you. But there's actually, it's only between the 2 of you.
Of course.
Once you're happy with what you're doing, and your friend is happy too, then invite more friends into the group until you're actually broadcasting, starting with 2, then 4 people, 8 people, 16 people, all of whom you know. They want you to do well. They're not here to criticize you. They're your friends.
Absolutely.
They will support you. And once you've got to the stage where you're happy and confident, then you can do what we're doing now, Marco's doing now, is to broadcast live to the public, to the whole world, and enjoy it.
Hello. Yeah. Bobby, say hello. Hello, Bobby. How are you?
Nice to see you, Bobby.
Welcome. But I guess it's one of the important things. And we are very frightened. For instance, when we do public speaking, I guess it's the same kind of fear. Once I remember the first time I went to give classes, and I was very frightened, I was very scared, and I was in panic. And my father said to me, listen, you will be the person in the room which knows better the issue you're going to talk. So stop being a sissy. It was kind of
good. I think the other thing, I'm going to go back a bit here. When IBM released their first computer, which was a great big computer, I started to train people in how to write programs using BASIC. So we're going back a bit. So I was in a computer company. I was training people how to write programs. And my boss said to me, right, okay, he says, you can do this. I thought, so I can. So I got up in front of a class of about 8 people, and I'm teaching them how to write programs in BASIC. And the first 10 minutes, I was good. I was so good. I was on topic. And then my mind went blank. A total blank. I totally stopped dead in my tracks saying whatever I was saying. I thought, what do I say next? And it was one of those moments. The boss is watching, and he came on and took over. But I think one of the things you've got to do before you go live is to prepare.
Yeah, of
and
course.
You've got to have, I mean, we talked through a series of points that we're going to talk about today. And if it's as simple as that, you actually just say, okay, we're going to talk about A, B, and C. That gives you somewhere to start. When I'm interviewing people, which is something I enjoy, what I actually do is to get the person I'm going to interview to give me 3 questions. Now, that does 2 things. One, they know the answers, otherwise they wouldn't give me the questions. And the other thing is that it gets a show off to a good start, because we know that when you do a live show, the first few minutes are crucial. So if you can get your guest in a relaxed mood before you start, like you did when we chatted, then when you go live, you start with the 3 questions. Your guest knows the answers, and you can just work from that. And basically, what happens is that the guest answers the first 3 questions, and you're listening, because half of the time you should at least be listening. You're listening, and your next question, your 4th question, comes from something that they said.
Of course.
And you just keep going like that.
Yeah. I guess. Hello, Vincent. Welcome. I remember some weeks ago I saw you talking about the interviews doing and the importance of the host. And I remember that I gave also my 2 cents to the conversation. Yeah. And I guess it's very important for the host to make the guest feel comfortable. And you only can make that if you are confident, the host is confident, and it's experimented people doing lives. And it's a thing that I started to making, I guess, in February, this kind of interviews. With you, it's not the problem, because you are you are an expert doing this, so I have to learn with you. But usually some people were the first time live with me.
Yes.
Okay, and usually I like to make this warm up offline, if you know what I mean. It's studio
Yeah, I do.
talking
Yeah.
and chatting about everything and nothing, just a casual chat to put people comfortable. Because if we talk a lot about what we are doing, I get people could get even more nervous. But usually I like to put people comfortable and say, it's okay, it will be nice. Just give me your hand and I'll eat.
Exactly so. I mean, people are nervous. I mean, I'm nervous before any broadcast because you need to be partly nervous to actually come alive and actually start and talk and be enthusiastic. And you've got to get yourself in the mood playing rock music or whatever, and then you come live. But if you've got a guest on, you've got to take a different approach. And as you said, you have to encourage them and be confident, because what the host, our mood, it rubs off on our guest. So if we're in a bad mood, then they'll be in a bad mood. If we're in a
Yeah,
good
of course.
mood, they'll be in a good mood, won't they?
Yeah. It's a lot like this. Yeah, sure. And for instance, which tools do you usually use to go live? I know Be Live is one of them.
Oh, Be Live is the favorite. I mean, I'm fortunate that I heard about Be Live the day it was launched, which was October 14th, 2016. And since then, of course, I've created the courses on Udemy, all about BeLive.tv. So if anybody's looking to learn about it, they can find out on Udemy. But
Can
there
you
are
share the
certain.
link with us?
I'll share the link
Please?
afterwards. Yeah, surely.
Okay.
If you go to udemy.com and search for BeLive TV, you'll find it. So it's easy as that. But I will put a link afterwards. But I'm here to chat. Marketing is it's not about. This is about the systems that are being used, and so BeLive.tv. Alternatives are. Well, you've got to think hard here. The alternatives are Lightstream. Now, Lightstream start off being for gamers, but it is now for broadcasters as well. You can go live on YouTube, okay? And YouTube, well, there's a difference between Facebook and YouTube. The people who go on YouTube, and I'm one of them, go there to watch videos. There are no distractions. So it's two different audiences. I mean, we know that Facebook has got 2 billion users. Well, YouTube's got 1 billion. So that's not a bad number. As far as software is concerned, I would say BeLive, Lightstream, and VidPresso are the three systems. There's one that's just been released, which is just desktop, which is a Win Broadcaster.
Yeah.
Now that's just an app, and it's Michael, who lives in Moscow. He designed an Apple version and a Windows version, and it costs $30 a year. And you can go live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope from your desktop without any browser. You just do it, and it just keeps getting better and better. So if you want to practice on your own, then $30 and you've got it all. And the other software that I use, because I do, as we said earlier, 5 broadcasts a week. If I wanted to put my broadcasts on Facebook to YouTube, I would have to download them, upload them to YouTube, and then put in the title, the description, the tags. In fact, I'd have to do everything. Whereas my friend Annie has got a program called Repurpose, and I can just press one button and the video goes from Facebook to YouTube. So that's my toolkit, as it were.
Oh,
So
great. I've seen that you some weeks ago also published something about Wind Broadcaster. Yeah.
Win Broadcaster.
Yeah.
If you check out the Be Live in 5 page.
See, I've tried it.
Yeah.
I've seen the interview you made with Michael.
All right. Okay.
Meanwhile, I made a broadcasting using it. So
Yeah.
I went live using and testing the tool. It
Brilliant.
it was amazing. It's very simple to use.
Mm-hmm.
You can, for instance, I was live, I was talking, and I was creating scenes.
It's magical,
Very
isn't
easily,
it?
very easily. I didn't. I saw that last week he made an update, the second version of the tool. I didn't try it yet, but I'm looking forward to do it because I really like the tool. It's very easy to use and it gives you a lot of features to make. Like, for instance, I love the tool that you can put a recorded video, and and for instance, it allows you to record the live, so you don't have to download it from Facebook, which gives you a not so good quality of the video because Facebook is not the perfect tool to have quality on a video.
No, it's not. It's good, but it's not that good.
It's a very nice tool with Broadcaster.
We agree on that, and I think when you try something new, that the person who designed it and created it did it out of love because they enjoyed making it, and that is true of Win Broadcaster. He just enjoyed doing it so much, and he keeps adding new features onto it. I mean, the next version will have a virtual camera, so that you could use Win Broadcaster to come on to BeLive.tv and play recorded video.
Oh, great.
It's just amazing.
Great. Really nice. And tell me, which tools, equipment do you use? Because one of the things people think is that you have a very expensive gear to go live. For instance, a really expensive and fancy microphone, some speakers, very expensive webcam, and so on. What do you tell about that?
Okay. When you first start broadcasting, if you've got a PC or a Mac, then just use it and practice. And when you then decide that you want to do it seriously, then we can spend as much as you want. But for $100, you can get yourself in total a Logitech C920 camera, which 9 out of 10 people that I know use, and you can get that from Amazon.
I use it. Not now, but I use it's amazing. It's a wonderful webcam.
Yeah, well, you can tell the difference between the two the 920. It's just a world of difference. So you can buy that for about $50 or $60. Then microphone, the C920 microphone. So you don't need to do anything straight away, but down the road you want to improve the quality of your sound, and you then have two choices. You can soundproof your room. You can buy yourself a Rode microphone and spend hundreds of dollars, or you can just get yourself for $30 the one I'm wearing today, which is a lapel microphone by Sony, and that's it. I mean, what equipment are you using, Marco?
Today I'm using this microphone. I spend, I guess, 20 euros maximum.
Brilliant.
On Amazon, and my webcam, it costed me, I guess, €30 in Amazon, because I'm not using the scene 920, but at home I use it, the Logitech. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It is breaking up a little bit, but I'm understanding everything you're saying. I mean, there's no problem on that score. And if you do, I'll say, I mean that's it. When we've both set up for a very reasonable price, and you've got good quality video and good quality sound.
I also have at home a Blue Snowball.
Ah, right. Okay.
It's a really nice microphone. It's not expensive. I guess I spent €60 with it.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice. I'm looking forward to have the Yeti, because it's my it's my little thing, because I really like that microphone, and it seems to be really good.
Yeah,
but tell me.
I agree, because sound is important.
Yeah, of course.
Sound is very important. If the picture quality varies, then when you're watching it, that's okay, you can watch it. But if the sound has a problem, then, and you find that problem irritating, you're going to go and do something else. So when you are broadcasting, you do need a microphone which is going to give you good quality sound, because that's key, isn't it? Because
I speak about that all the time, because it's very important. Even though we don't need to spend a big amount of money to buy a nice microphone. Of course, it's not an amazing microphone, but it's a nice. For instance, the one I'm using, and I guess the sound is not bad. But it's very important to have a nice microphone so people can understand you clearly, so the messenger goes on. Because, like you said, we can see a image not so good, but we don't hear a sound not good.
I totally agree.
Okay. Tell me.
Okay, no, I'm just enjoying myself so much. If anybody watching, if you've got a question, then do please ask. And Mark has promised that if you do type it in Portuguese, then he will translate it for me. So we've no problems on that score. That's all pre-agreed.
Ok,
so,
great. Se tiverem alguma dúvida, por favor, coloquem, estejam à vontade para falar, porque eu e o Steven estamos a fazer a parte mais difícil, que é dar a cara, digamos assim. Quero acreditar que para vocês escrever não é assim tão difícil quanto isso. Ok? Por isso, estejam à vontade para colocar dúvidas, que é disso que se trata, por favor. Não estamos a pedir a ninguém para entrar online connosco, isso é que seria um pouquinho mais complicado, mas coloquem dúvidas, digam qualquer coisa, ao menos ponham uns likes para a gente saber que vocês estão aí, porque não estão aí adormecidos, ok? Estejam à vontade. I was asking for comments, and I was saying that I'm not asking people to come online with us, which will be more difficult, but at least tell us that you are alive and make some reactions and some likes for us.
It makes it a lot easier. I mean, the thing that's happened, I think for both of us, is that we've made friends around the world using live video. I mean, it's just so easy to come live and to talk to people and to share ideas and thoughts and talk about a particular topic. I mean, you were saying that you've across the speaking world, you've made new friends.
Yeah. It's funny, and I'm grateful about it, because firstly, I made these contacts in a professional logic, thinking about approach, like professionals that can come to my live video and bring something, add some value that I don't have, for instance, because there's a great broad of knowledge that we can go after all of them, and then you ask someone who can cover that issue and so on. And when I started, I was thinking about professional, but it as going to a friendship and doing things and talking about the week, during the week, for instance, how are you and what are you doing and so on. And it's kind of that. It's the importance of the human. It's the importance of the human touch in a digital world.
It is. I mean, we are lucky now to have this technology, to be able to talk to friends on live video, to be able to talk to people who are watching, to reach out. Because, I mean, we don't need to go back too far. The nearest thing we could get to it a few years ago is pen pals. Now we've got the opportunity to actually go live on video, and I see a comment from Albertina, so I'm going to stop now.
Okay, I'm putting the message on the screen. Okay, can you read it, Stephen? It's a challenge to you.
Comunicación es muy importante para transmitir un mensaje no solo mensaje visual, mas también verbal, o contenido para toda diferencia.
Okay, can you
I can make an attempt.
Can you comment on that?
No, please
Okay.
translate.
I'll translate.
Thank you.
The communication is really important to make the message go through, not just the visual message, but also the oral message, the text. Okay.
Yes.
The content will make all the difference.
I totally agree. It's basically, if you are going to go live, then you need to have a message, don't you? You need to have something that you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
You need content. And if you have content which is prepared either by you or by your guest, then when people come to watch the show, they can become involved in the topic.
Yeah,
and so, yeah, that's a very good observation. I think we both agree on that, yeah?
Ok. Muito obrigado, Albertina, pelo comentário. Esteja à vontade para fazer mais. Let me put on the screen Fernanda.
I can read that one. Hello, Stephen. I'm enjoying the live video. Where do your main viewers come from? Thank you, Fernanda.
Muito obrigado, Fernanda.
Obrigado.
Great.
Now, yeah, I think we're in a situation where most of the people who are involved in live video are actually in the States. And that will change over time because the United States tend to do everything first. So I've made friends, as you have, around the world, but most of them would be in the US. When I have a show and we co-host, my co-host on Monday is in Canada. On Tuesday is in Tennessee. On Wednesday is in Colorado. On Thursday it's just me. And then on Friday in South Africa.
Okay.
So it is global. It is global. I mean, we've got friends, Adair Palmer, who's in Adelaide in Australia. Mm-hmm. And the only time that we can broadcast is 9:30 p.m. on a Sunday night, both in Portugal and in the UK, because it's 7 a.m. in Adelaide. And we have another friend called April who's in the USA. And it's not 4:30 p.m. in the USA. So you can do it global. But to answer your question, majority of people who watch my shows are actually American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess,
how do you find it?
For me, it's normal because usually people from US are a little step forward than all the people. and I guess it's cultural also. I guess American people usually likes to be engaged and talk and so on. And for instance, here in Portugal, it's not our DNA to give the step front and to come to join for instance, here, I don't have statistics, but I guess we are not so involved with the live broadcasting and so on. I guess there's not much professionals like me doing live so often. So thankfully, I can give a step in front or two, and it's good. I guess it's a really nice way to engage with people, to get to know him, and to get to show the people what you can do for them and to know them better and so on. Because it's I used to say that it's like you're doing the most difficult thing you can do online, because if you are an authority doing what you do, it's here that you can show it, because you don't know what could come from the other side.
That's so true, so true. I mean, the magical thing about any live show is meeting one new person on each show, not on the camera, but in the comments. And what I like to do after the show is to go to the recording and start a conversation with somebody who's commented. And that's the way you actually start to build relationships with people, is by reaching out and making the first move, and then a conversation starts. And that's what it's all about. I mean, you said earlier, this is networking, and it's the best way to network there is.
Yeah. For instance, one thing that I like to do, I could do it more easier. For instance, if I'm doing a solo, or if I'm the invited. When someone come through and say hello and put some answer and so on, or comments, I'll stop talking about the issue and I go there. Hello, I call the name from people, because it's a nice way to engage.
It is.
People like to be called by his name or her name, and I like to do that, because it's a really nice way to get engaged. And we need to think about this. If we are just in the audience, it's a nice way to come out of the crowd. If all of them are just listen and don't give any feedback and don't put you questions and so on, everything will be in the crowd.
Yeah.
But if you make this your point, if you ask questions and so on, people, for instance, if us who are talking here, will get to know, oh, who is this?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, one of the biggest problems of going live, and we have no problem with this because we've been doing it for a while, is that you're suddenly saying something and then you stop because you've run out of ideas. Now, the magic of a live show is that everybody who's watching now can give us an idea, a topic to talk about, and we can talk about it.
Yeah, great.
You know, yeah.
I like it's a kind of brainstorming online.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And that's the magic. That's why it works so well, because it is an interactive form of entertainment. When you sit down to watch television, you're watching the television and you're not doing anything. When you're watching a live show on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch or anything like that, you've got the opportunity to actually exchange ideas and thoughts and ask questions. And when that happens, it's magical. So I just want to say thank you for the questions we've had so far, because especially I actually read a sentence in Portuguese. There you go.
nice work. For instance, I like to say, people, I make classes often. I'm kind of, one of the things I used to do is teaching. And I like to ask for doubts and questions, because I used to say, your question may be the question of a lot of people. And it could help me helping you and all of them. So that it's really nice to make things keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, let me put this comment so you can read it.
Okay, here we go.
Really nice. It's very easy to read and to understand what he said.
Muito interesante asistir estes. No, I'm going French here, but it's either in French that would be droit, but dois jovens em directo. So don't go with the. But okay, could you translate it for me, please?
Of course I do. And now I could be mean and translate you in the wrong way.
No, you could. No, I got the idea. Sorry, carry on.
He said it's very interesting to watch these two young guys live.
That's very kind of you. I thank you. You made my day.
you know my surname in Portuguese means young.
Right.
It's young, so I will be young till the end of my life. People used to say that to me. Stephen, can you tell us which awkward situation happened to you live?
Right. When you asked me that question, then right, awkward situations. I think awkward situations happen when you're on a show and you have a guest, and the guest comes on the show, and you make the mistake of asking a question which can be answered as either yes or no. And if you ask the question and they just say yes, and they keep saying yes, then the interview just goes down, it doesn't work. So what I learned early on to get out of embarrassing situations is to ask a question which you've got to give a long answer to.
Okay.
And that's
So
it.
I may ask you, do you live in Britain?
I live in, thank you for asking. I live in Wiltshire in England, and I'm about 20 miles away from Stonehenge and 20 miles away from Avebury and near to Salisbury. And Wiltshire is just a beautiful place to be. And it's about 120 miles from London. Now, because I know not to say yes or no, I've got an answer prepared for most things, but thank you for the question.
For me, the most awkward, and it happened, I guess, almost a year ago, is I was talking about the 5 P's of personal marketing or so on. And the guy a troll came in and was doing some really awkward comments and so on. And I was, okay, what will I do? I was very, I didn't know what to do. If it was today, I will know how to deal with that. Maybe I do a break and ask to the guy, well, you have 2 solutions, 2 ways. You will stop doing this and you get quiet or do comments which are okay, or then I will have to ban you. It's your choice. Because we have to know, we must be conscious about this. We are talking for people who are willing to listen to us. We are compromised with that. So if a guy comes in and ruin everything, it's our responsibility also about this. So we have to stop and ask, well, if you don't like what you are listening, you can go away. You don't have to be here. Or else you have to be quiet.
That's the absolutely correct response when that happens. It is rare, but you're sort of shocked by it. Because here you're talking about a normal subject in a normal tone to an audience who want to hear what you have to say. And then suddenly somebody comes in and starts creating havoc. And it's not just for you, it's for everybody who's watching. So of course. I agree with everything that you've said. Yeah.
Okay, we have here some more questions. Thank you a lot, Fernanda. It's asking something again.
Well, I can read that. Every journalist.
Yes, you can.
Every journalist knows how not to ask yes or no questions, and that's right, Fernanda. Indeed.
Okay.
Indeed.
Yeah. I didn't know about this, so I have to thank you, Stephen, and ask. Fernanda is with me in my classes for a month, and she never told me this. I'm very upset with that. It's okay. Now we have another question or comment. Okay. Thank you, Daniela.
Right. Hi, Stephen. Talk more about your nice question. Talk more about your live videos work. What do you mainly like to talk about? Right. Okay. I'll start at the top. On Mondays, 12 p.m. Eastern, David and I, who's in Canada, we talk about community and we talk about building community. One of the things you cannot do is to come live on video and expect people to watch you. Can you? You've got to build an audience over time. You've got to build a community. So that's our topic on Mondays. On Tuesdays, Tina and I, Tina Shang, who's in Tennessee, we talk about, we started an organization called Be Live in 5, which is Be Live in 5 steps. And we've done a Udemy course for that. And we've got 4,000 students on the course. And we've helped hundreds of people to go live on BeLive.tv. And we talk on Tuesday, we answer everybody's questions, and we talk about how to make the best of going live. Wednesdays is something that was new to me 2 months ago, and that's messenger bots, which is the ability to engage people using a messenger bot, and I do a show on Wednesday with RJ Redden, who's based in the States, and we talk about everything about messenger bots, about ManyChat. And then on Thursdays, it's 4 old guys, and I'm going to be honest here, 4 old guys in the UK who've been broadcasting for over 2 years, talking about everything that happens in the UK and the world. And on Fridays with Rigetti in South Africa, we talk about basically winding down for the weekend, and we invite people to come on and join us and chat. And effectively what happens is, in those situations, we can have up to 4 people on the screen, and we can have 10 people in the lobby. And what we do is mix people around, and it's like musical chairs where you take somebody out of the seat, put somebody else in the seat. So that's it. Wide variety of topics, all centered around networking and meeting new people.
It sounds great.
Right.
I made a talk show like that with lots of people, and it takes it's not easy to manage all that. I was almost quiet all the time, just putting everything someone on and taking it out and so on.
I know what you mean, and it basically, I mean, Be Live is straightforward, but there's so many things to do. Bringing the comments in, people on and off, and it does get, you know, but it's a challenge. Let's put it that way. Still a challenge. And
for instance, for me, I like challenge. I'm a Portuguese speaker. I was born in Portugal. I lived in Portugal for my life. And for instance, I've been challenging me, for instance, doing live videos, live broadcasting in Spanish. When people could think, oh, I don't speak Spanish, it's not my native language, and so on. I do it, and today I'm doing my premiere speaking in English. I know I know my English is not perfect. It's not the best English in the world, but it's practice.
I think we've proved once. First of all, your English is very good.
Oh, thank you.
No problems on that score. And we've proved today that your English is certainly better than my Portuguese and my Spanish. I mean, I speak English, French, and German, and I'm very fortunate in that. And I think if we can speak 2 languages, we open up a whole new world. Really do. Whether that language be Portuguese or Spanish or German or French or Italian. If you've got a second language, then you have a different view on the world.
Of course.
Because you can read that, you can watch and follow the news and events in every single country that speaks that language, and language is important.
Of course.
Yeah.
For instance, I used to think, and that's what I think. For instance, if you are talking to an audience which doesn't speak your language, if you do the effort to speak in their language, first of all, they will understand, oh, he's doing an effort to speak my language.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it's a good way to engage, and your message will be more clear. Okay. So, for me, it's very important that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it is just wonderful to be able to engage with people in different countries, and as you say, take the first steps to actually speaking the language. Because if we just an aside, if we go to France, the French expect us to speak French. Yeah? It's simple. Whereas most of the countries, certainly Portugal, and you know, I mean, it's a lot easier. We're not as hard on people when they don't speak a language, and we're understanding. But if you take the first steps and you learn languages, then you're doing yourself a world of good.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And for instance, doing this, you have a broader chances to make it. So if you, for instance, if I didn't speak English, how could I make this with you?
Indeed, because I mean, there was a language. I'm just going back. Language called Esperanto, which was designed for everybody in Europe to speak one language. Not English, French, German, Italian, or Spanish, or Portuguese, but Esperanto. And that has still got tens of thousands of people throughout Europe who speak it. And the idea was that instead of speaking your own language, you spoke a common language. But it's languages divide countries, but they also can bring countries together. And I'm a great believer that if you're going to visit a country, then you should learn some of the language.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, and I missed oche out.
Not bad. I remember talking, because usually Portuguese people make a big effort to try to communicate with foreigners.
Yes.
It's amazing. And once I went to a little village here in the north of Portugal, and I went to a cafe, and the owner of the cafe was trying to speak with some tourist people. I don't know, but they were speaking English. Maybe they were English or not, because English is the universal languages. But the guy didn't know what to say, but he was talking about Eusébio, Benfica, and so on. Which are very known issues, and the football team and the football player is before Ronaldo.
Well, definitely.
It was the most known. So we try to make this kind of connections to path the things.
No, indeed. And I got to say, I just got to say thank you to everybody who's commented today, because it does make the show. You make the show. Yeah. We start the show, but you make the show.
Yeah, it's important. It's important it's one of the things important here in live broadcasting is the engagement of the people. Of course, we have to allow them to talk and to give opinion, and most of the time we have to push it, because, as I said, Portuguese people are very shy. I don't know if it was because we live a lot of time with a dictator here, which didn't allow any talk. maybe it was a problem, but usually people here don't like to show most of the time his view and his opinion and so on. So we have to keep pushing it. Okay, we have another question, a tricky question. Steve, a tricky question for you.
Right, okay. Hi, Bruno. Hi, Stephen. What do you think of Brexit? Well, Marco and I could do a show on Brexit, but to give... Right, okay. First of all, I'll say that I voted to remain in the EU. So I, unfortunately, got about the majority who said we should leave the EU. We have an arrangement. I live in a town called Devizes in Wiltshire. I just want to use this to explain my stance. And we have a twin town in France called Mayenne, and a twin town in Germany called Weimringen. Now, all this started 50 years ago, but before the EU. And what happens is every year, each country is a host. So this year, Germany is the host in Weimringen, and people from France and England will go to visit friends that they've made in Weimringen and stay with them over the weekend. So you don't stay in a hotel, you actually stay with people, you learn about the day-to-day life of living in Germany. Next year, we go to Maine in France and we learn about the day-to-day life of French people, and then they come over here. So it goes round and round. So I'm the chairman of the twinning committee, and my job is to make sure that the links between France and Germany become stronger. And my way of looking at it is this. We should be leaving the EU, but we are still European.
Yeah, of course. For instance, I don't know if you know it, the city where I'm in, Viana do Castelo, has a twin town in England, Lancaster.
Oh wow!
It was 25 years ago. I went there. There was a kind of Olympic Games between the twin towns from Lancaster.
Yep.
We meet there and we have some sport.
It's a fantastic program, isn't it?
That time. Today I'm not, because I'm a little heavy to that. I know that those days I was an athlete. I was okay. We have here some comments. Hello, Travis. How are you? We are talking about doing live shows and so on. Thank you, Bobby.
It's a good comment from Bobby, because this is thing. We're not just we're bringing two cultures together,
of course.
two ways of life, and that's what live video is doing. I agree with Bobby. Yeah.
And one of the things I were thinking now, it's that it could be allowed by live videos is that you can show more of you, that not just the professional side of you, if you know what I mean. For instance, that we could get this kind of questions, not so professional. What do you think about the football last week and so on? And you can show you more from you. You can show the personal side, the social side, because we should forget that we are on a social network. It's a social tool, so we must keep social all the time.
It's totally about people, but you just mentioned football, which gives me a chance. I was born in a town called Burnley, which is 20 miles from Manchester in the UK.
Okay.
And not far from Lancaster.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And Burnley, the English Premiership reads as follows: Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, some other team, Arsenal, and then Burnley. And Burnley next year will be playing in Europe, which is totally amazing. So Portuguese teams may be playing against Burnley next year in the Europa Cup, which is magical. Magical.
Really good. And in the World Cup, what do you think about it?
I'll give you my views. First of all, I think sports should be outside politics. So from a sporting point of view, my hope is that the English team play well. That there is no, well, you've got to hope that there is no trouble, that there is no trouble, and that they reach the quarterfinal, the last 8. Right now, what are your views on the Portuguese team and Moscow?
I don't know. It depends a lot on Ronaldo. I hope it goes okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have higher expectations, because we usually don't make amazing World Cups. But okay, I'm not a fanatic and a guy who is hoping amazing things. For instance, when we were European champions, it was okay, but I truly didn't expect that.
It's just so good when in sport, when something happens you didn't expect, and I mean that's the thing about sport. It's unpredictable.
Yeah, very unpredictable.
Do you watch Formula One at all?
I used to watch it when Senna was there.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I mean that's a sport that's unpredictable, totally unpredictable, and it's just amazing that these people can race at 200 miles an hour. It's sort of most of the year when it's just amazing, and we benefit because the technology that they develop eventually gets used in the cars that we drive. So
It's the perfect match between the machine and the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Any question from the public, please? Our audience, please.
Right. Okay. Well, it's been Marco. Thank you for the invitation. I've really enjoyed myself today.
It was a pleasure. It's nice to meet someone from the high majesty country. It was a pleasure. I was looking forward to talk with you a long time ago. You remember when I asked on Belivers, which one was willing to come join me, and you were one of the most important inviters there, because you are a very, how can I say, a very believer.
I am a believer.
A fan and evangelist and so on. So I wanted you to join me, because I thought that it could be a really nice show, and I guess it was, my expectations were fulfilled.
Brilliant. Right. Excellent.
So maybe we can say goodbye to these people. Wish all of them a nice weekend. I don't know if you want to say goodbye.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
In Portuguese.
Right. I tell you what, I look forward to you being on one of my shows. And we can arrange that later. And when you come on my shows, I will have perfected and practiced some Portuguese.
Oh, great!
So that would be good. So yeah, to everyone who's watched us today, to everyone who's commented, thank you. It's been a pleasure to be chatting with Marco today. If you get the chance and Marco invites you on camera, take it, because you'll learn a lot, and you'll be in good hands, because I felt so relaxed today talking. And I wish you all a wonderful weekend, and England for the World Cup. To see you.
Final Portugal, England. And at the end, Portugal will win in the penalties.
That's Germany. That's Germany's job.
Okay, thank you a lot, Stephen. It was a great pleasure to have you here. It was a very pleasant moment to have you here, and I guess you gave really nice insights, and I guess people will love to practice, implement these tips you gave, because they are really nice. Okay, thank you a lot. Hope to see you soon.
My pleasure.
Bem, minha gente, chegamos ao final deste direto. Espero que tenham gostado. Também, se quiserem, podem colocar aí os vossos comentários, as vossas observações. Mais uma vez, peço-vos para deixarem sugestões de alguns temas que queiram ver abordados, do género, o que é que vocês, do ponto de vista do marketing, qualquer coisa que não esteja a funcionar tão bem, qualquer coisa que vocês entendam que possa melhorar, partilhem comigo nos comentários essas vossas opiniões, esses vossos anseios, essas vossas dúvidas, ok? Então agradeço imenso também o tempo que despenderam para estar aqui connosco, os comentários que fizeram, que trouxeram ainda mais informação e mais interesse à conversa, ok? Espero que tenham gostado. Desejo-vos um excelente fim de semana. Até breve. Na semana que vem espero trazer-vos aqui mais alguns convidados interessantes, e divirtam-se e aproveitem o bom tempo. Tchau, tchau.